The NAACP recently issued a travel advisory for the state of Florida, and today I have Leon Russell, the chairman of the NAACP Board of Directors, joining me to talk a little bit about it. Thank you so much for joining me.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, Leon, you have received quite a bit of backlash after this travel advisory was announced, starting with DeSantis calling it a stunt, and we have the chairman of the Florida GOP, Christian Ziegler, saying, and I quote, "The chairman of the NAACP lives in Tampa, Florida. True leadership is being willing to do what you ask others to do. Time to step up and move. If you think our state is so bad, the Florida GOP will help with moving costs." Leon, what is your response to that statement?
Bullshit. Now, to be serious, first of all, the governor should know a stunt when he sees one, because he's been doing them his entire administration. With respect to the travel advisory, nothing in the NAACP travel advisory asked anyone to leave the state of Florida. What it specifically says is if you intend to visit Florida, you need to be aware of these things which we consider to be the new Jim Crow. We have a state legislature that has enacted laws that are reminiscent of the 1890s, not even the 1990s. They're laws that are intended to create discrimination because they target women, they target the LGBTQ community, they target Black folk, they target immigrants. They spew hate, and therefore we believe that anyone who is thinking about visiting the state of Florida ought to consider the ramifications of the policies that legislators and the current administration of this state have put in place. Secondly, it's about safety. It warns those who are, again, thinking about coming to Florida that they need to think about safety, because most of the legislation that this legislature has adopted is cruel. It is cruelty-based. It creates and fans the flames of hate. And we know, we have witnessed that politicians fanning the flames of hate can lead to violence. It leads to mass murder in our synagogues, in our grocery stores, in our public schools, in our temples across the country. And so we're saying, if you're planning on visiting Florida, you need to be aware of public policy in Florida that may have a damaging impact on you and your family. Secondly, let me deal with the idiot who runs the Republican Party of the state of Florida. First of all, we're not telling anybody to leave. What we're saying is it's time to stand and fight. We're telling people to stand your ground. We're telling them that they need to organize. They need to understand that the solution to the problems created by our legislature and our governor are political. They need to organize a civic engagement campaign. They need to become a part of a civic engagement campaign. If organizations are planning on visiting the state of Florida, we encourage them to do that. But what we want them to do is to raise up and highlight the Jim Crow nature of the legislation that the leaders of this state have adopted in the last year. We want them to make it a highlight of their convenings to inform their members about that. But secondly, we want them to inform their members that they need to join with the NAACP, with immigrant groups, with LGBT groups, and organize a campaign set to clean up our legislature, to make changes so that public policy in this state exists in a way that does not foment hate and division, but truly lifts the population. So no, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stand and we're going to organize, and we are going to resist this retrenchment of civil rights that the leadership of the state of Florida is attempting to impose on our state.